Welcome to your very first lesson of Math 7, Chapter 1, Section 1, A Plan for Problem Solving. So our plan for problem solving involves the four-step plan. The four-step plan is understand, plan, solve, and check. And throughout this lesson, we're going to go over what each of those steps involves, and then we're going to put our four-step plan into action and solve a few problems. So starting off the back, we have our step of understand. So when we understand a problem, we want to read the problem quickly to just gain an understanding of it. We don't need to analyze it in depth. We just kind of want to know what's going on. We want to ask, what facts do I know? So kind of what does it tell us? What facts do I need to find out? So what's missing? What's the question here? And is there enough information to solve the problem? So are we missing something? Is this problem totally unsolvable? Or is there extra information? Is it telling me things that I really don't care about? That it doesn't matter to me when trying to get an answer to whatever question we're looking for? Then we move on to our plan step. During our plan, we reread the problem and identify our relevant facts. So we're going to reread it, figure out the things that we need to know, need to find out, and stuff that doesn't matter. We want to determine how the facts relate to one another. We want to make a plan and choose a strategy for solving it. And there may be several strategies that we can use. There's not just one way to come to an answer. And we should also estimate what we think the answer should be. So we should go, is it going to be a positive number? Is it going to be huge? Is it going to be a negative number? Is it going to be a decimal? You kind of want to have an idea in mind and make sure that your solution is close enough to that. Then you have your solve step. So we want to use the plan that we created in our last step to solve our problem. And if our plan doesn't work, if we don't come up with an answer that works, we want to revise it or make a new plan. So during solve, you may have to go back to plan and double check and come back to your solve step. And our final step in the four-step plan is our check step. During check, we want to reread the problem. Is there another solution that we could have? Sometimes you can have more than one answer. We want to examine our answer carefully and make sure, kind of does that make sense? We want to ask, is our answer reasonable and close to my estimate? So whatever we estimated and whatever the real solution is, we want to make sure that works. Like I said earlier, does my answer make sense? Am I making a positive amount of money? I shouldn't be losing money, so it should have a positive number, not a negative number, whatever that may be. If your answer is not reasonable, we're going to have to make a new problem and solve the problem another way. So we'll have to go back to that plan step again and start over. So a lot of times we're circling back to the plan if whatever happens doesn't work out. And then we may also want to check our answer by solving the problem again using a different way, just so that we know and we're confident in whatever our answer may be. So now we're going to go on to an example. So our example here says to refer to the table, which is below here. About how many times as great is the number of teens who use their cell phone to take pictures compared to the number who exchange videos. So we need to go down here and look in our table and see what we have. It says I use my cell phone to access social network sites, exchange videos, play games, play music, take pictures, and then it's the number of teens that do each of those. So our understand step, I'm going to slide back up here and look. What is it that we want to know? We want to know, what facts do I know? What do I need to find out? So after quickly reading our problem, we know that we need to find out the number of teens who use their cell phones to take pictures compared to exchange videos. We want to know how many times as great that is. So we know what we're looking for. I'm going to check that off. We figured that out. How many times greater? It's not the most beautiful thing there, but we get the point. Now we need to go to our plan step. So our plan step here says to reread the problem to identify relevant facts, determine how they relate to each other, and make a plan and choose a strategy for solving. Okay, so we know it wants to know about how many times as great is the number of teens who use their cell phones to take videos compared to the number who exchange So things we need to know: number of teens who use their cell phone to take pictures, and the number of teens who exchange videos. So then down here, I'm going to go exchange videos. That's one we need to know. Take pictures. That's one we need to know. I don't care about accessing social networking sites. I don't care about playing games. And I don't care about playing music. I only care about those two pieces of information. So what are we going to do to solve this? We want to know how many times as great the number of teens who use their cell phone to take pictures compared to videos. So pictures is bigger than videos. Clearly we can see that. What is it that we need to do? Right, when we're trying to figure out how many times greater something is, we have to divide. So we want to take pictures divided by videos. During our plan step, it also says, let's estimate what our answer should be. So, estimating wise, we have 177 and 61. Ew, gross, I don't like those numbers. So during my estimation, I'm going to round 177 to 180. And I'm going to round 61 to 60. 180 divided by 60, guess what? 3. I could solve that in my head. So our answer should come up to be something around 3 times as great. So now we're going to actually put our plan into effect and we're going to solve. So we're going to take 177 divided by 61, and I'm just going to plug that into a calculator. I don't need to do this in my head. I can just use my resources here. And 177 divided by 61 is giving me 2.9. Is 2.9 close to 3? You can sure bet that it is. So checking back, our answer is reasonable. 2.9 and 3 are very close. So check, we solved it. If I wanted to be proper, I can't fit it here, but I would say the number of teens who use their cell phone to take pictures is 2.9 times greater than the number who exchange videos. And here's one more problem for you. It says the tower of a free fall ride, and remember, I'm in my understanding stage, so I'm just going to read through it. The tower of a free fall ride at an amusement park is 251.5 feet tall. And the ride begins to free fall from 18.9 feet below the top of the tower. And the brakes are applied 41.4 feet from the bottom. How long is the free fall portion of the ride? Okay, so during my understanding, I need to figure out what this is trying to say. So we've got a tower of a free fall ride. So guess what? I'm just going to kind of draw this. So we've got our tower here. Its entire height is 251.5. We want to know how tall the free fall portion is. It says it begins the free fall 18.9 feet down from here. So this chunk up here is 18.9. And the brakes are applied 41.4 feet from the bottom. We want to know how big this area is. So what am I going to do to help us solve that? And in asking that question, I'm moving on from my understanding stage to my plan stage. So in order to figure this out, I know what I need to do. We have these 3 chunks adding up to equal the total area of that one big chunk. So to figure out this missing piece here, I know I want to take our initial height and then take away the 2 areas that we already know to figure out what the missing area is. So we're going to take that minus our top area and then minus our bottom area. There's my plan. That's how I'm going to solve it. I've got our whole piece and our 2 little missing pieces here. My estimation, I'm going to look at it and go, okay, 250 minus about 20 will get us to 230, and then minus about 40 down here, right? I'm just rounding. 250 minus 20 minus 40 will get us to about 190. So our estimation is at about 190. And in solving, guess what I'm going to do? Plug it into my calculator. And so I'm going 251.5 minus 18.9, and then minus 41.4. And we end up getting 191.2, don't forget my label, feet. So it says our free fall portion is 191.2 feet. Is this reasonable? Checking back with our estimate of 190, it sure is reasonable. It's only 1.2 different. So we can conclude that the free fall portion of the ride is 191.2 feet.